My name is Stephen McGriff. I'm an instructional designer and education consultant with passion to lead educators into greater creative confidence. I believe that teachers and administrators who believe in their creative power also lead with creativity and empower others to find their confidence. This is a presentation about a journey to find treasure in yourself, a journey for finding your visual voice. That's your reward at the end of this graphic design creativity adventure. Before we begin, let's call out the elephant in the room. Chances are high that many of you believe in a lie that you have told yourself for a long time. That lie is often whispered to ourselves something like this: I'm not creative. I consistently hear this message from educators. It is a sad revelation that somewhere in life their creative confidence has been lost or stolen. I was sad for myself for a long time. This lie was once my friend too. I lost my creativity in high school to a seductive babe named STEM. Oh, she tantalized my analytical side with prospects of power careers and fast cars. Oh, yes, I chose her. I opted in to be tracked into college prep classes that left little opportunity for creative explorations with hands-on courses. Remember, this was years ago, before the concept of maker meant anything aside from the elective shop and art classes, which were now verboten from my college track curriculum. I was the same as many of you are right now. I had to send my creativity into the dark recesses of my mind. I believed I did not have an inherent ability to be artistically creative once I completed all of those STEM courses in high school. But I continued to date that mistress of a lie until halfway through my sophomore year. And at that time, you would think I would have known better, but I moved in with STEM's alias, engineering. Our relationship evolved into a passion for a cool, analytical, mechanical engineering babe called product design. Product was supposed to be good for me, as I convinced myself into believing. Fortunately, the relationship ended after she introduced me to her cousin, an attractive, artistic, creative expression named art design. Artsy, as I called her, opened my mind's eye, literally, to the creative possibilities I had locked away into the deep recesses of my mind. She set the dopamine on fire in my brain and burned down the prison walls that held my creativity captive. What was once lost was now found. Oh, hallelujah! I developed greater creative confidence and artistic skill and found my life expression in drawing, sculpture, color, photography, and typography. My thinking was transformed through the artistic discovery process. Did I become a fantastical artistic creative being? No, I did not excel to the top of my class with artsy. So she was still good to me though. I graduated as the best artistic expression of myself that I could be. That's creative confidence reborn from the self-deception of thinking I am not creative. Think about it. Imagine a world of diminished perceptions, a bland world without creativity and creative expression. It would be a very limited and boring space of life to live within. And as you listen and watch this presentation, keep your mind's eye open. If you doubt your creative ability to apply the graphic design principles that I'm going to show and talk about, you can change. Now think about this as a growth mindset opportunity. And if necessary, repeat the mantra, I am creative. I am creative. All the while you're listening. Yes, I do believe in you. You are creative. Even if you have only one creativity brain cell, it can grow and develop other cells to believe in your creative processes. First, give that one brain cell a chance. It just needs you to believe in it and offer it a little practice with these design principles that we will discover in just a few minutes. Your journey to find your visual voice must start with the right attitude that you have latent creative ability. Believe me, it's hiding in you. And speaking of you, it really is about you. You are the best thing that shows up in your classroom or office space. It isn't what you know or what you can do. No. It's more about you, yourself, your heart, your soul. Your students or staff need your valuable presence to communicate what you know that they need to hear. Are you ready to start this journey with your new creative, confident self? Come on, let's go. Follow me into the journey. As educators, you are by default communicators. I'm an educator who is trying to communicate right now, but sometimes we fail to communicate effectively because we don't use our full voice. Half of a voice doesn't work so well. Remember when you're sick with swollen tonsils and an itchy throat? Trying to speak above a whisper was really difficult and sounding very raspy. We need a strong voice to talk with our audience. We make good use of our knowledge of verbal communication, but often forget to add the other half of our communication power to achieve maximum potential. That is, speaking with the addition of our visual voice. Given so much digital media in our lives, the visual voice is just as important as the visual. Given nearly anyone can produce and publish digital media, the need for learning how to use a clear, coherent visual voice is greater than ever. The verbal content that educators produce may be good, clear, and coherent, but without the same attention to the visual voice, at least half the message is lost in the translation in the audience's mind. Half the audience is missing out on something important that was not shown along with the words used. We all learn the mechanics of written and spoken communication, and now some of us teach that to our students and peers. How often do we miss the opportunity to create coherent and understandable visual messaging in support of what we are saying? The situation gets worse when published work is sent out into the world with poor visual design and without the author's voice to explain it to the audience. The audience that receives these kinds of messages is now burdened to make sense and meaning of the author's purpose without any visual support or limited visual support, or maybe even chaotic and confusing visual support to go along with it. This is a problem for educators trying to communicate with learners. If Mr. Klein is even half right, educators need to find their visual voice and move their communication to a higher level. The connections I hope you will understand are 10 of them. Learners engage with information that is communicated to them. Number 2, communication is both written, verbal, and visual. Visual communication is equally as important to a message as the verbal components. Visual voice is your unique way of visually communicating your message. Number 5, visual voice requires an understanding of visual literacy. Visual literacy is the ability to read, interpret, and create visual imagery. Making and interpreting visual imagery requires the understanding of graphic design principles and norms. Number 8, learners, that is, our audience, are better able to learn from visuals with the corresponding verbal content than from the verbal alone. 9, our message has the best chance for helping the learner understand when it is accompanied by a good visualization using good graphic design. 10, our visual voice is a critical aspect for our audience to hear, see, and comprehend our communicated message. Let's imagine in our mind's eye how the education world could be visually better for better communication that leads to better learning. Our visual voice can support our verbal voice to create a coherent message, a message where the verbal and visual exist in harmony. Visually coherent messages, whether printed or presented, can lead to improved communication and therefore improved learning opportunities for students. This new world would be more visually literate. Imagine teachers who are communicating with graphic design knowledge and skill, and their students are applying visual literacy skills. Imagine a world where teachers are communicating visually coherent messages and their students are comprehending the message more clearly. Imagine a world where teachers are using multiple modes of information representation and their students are interpreting the information in more meaningful ways. Imagine teachers reducing the visual clutter and students seeing the key points better. The emerging question is this: How do we see better so that we can speak better? How can I help you? For more information about visual voice, connect with me through my blog, Divergent Ed, or website, stephenmcgriff.com, where you may also find other topics of interest. If you would like me to present to your staff or school district, send an email to steve@stephenmcgriff.com.